In the last episode of the Journals, you saw myself and Paul on the hunt for some of the older residents of Abbey Lake. We were lucky enough to catch well over 30 carp between us, including the king of the lake, the incredible 30-year-old fossil. With the pandemic cancelling 3 trips to France, we were itching to get back over there, so straight after our session on paddock, we made the 3-hour journey down to Dover. A late night Channel tunnel booking ensured that the Easter traffic had subsided. With our foreign PBs being £44 and £48 respectively, we went in search for our first ever French 50. During the journey, tactics and targets were discussed, with both of us agreeing that if we had 1 fish each during our stay, we'd be really happy. And after a swift crossing, we arrived in France. Driving through the night to get to our chosen venue early in the morning, we hoped to be at the front of the queue for the first choice of swims. And arriving at the lake, we were a little bit worried to hear from one of the leaving anglers that nothing had been out of Attila that week. But after our brilliant few days previously, we tried not to let the news dampen our spirits. Having never fished Attila before and information about the lake limited, we decided on swims 1 and 9, as these basically gave us access to a large proportion of the water and also a good view of the lake to spot any showing fish. So you joined us here today down at Abbey Lakes on Attila, and yeah, I'm currently in peg 1. There's only 5 of us on the lake because 2 guys cancelled, and yeah, so I'm on peg 1, loads and loads of water here. There's no one next door to me, but the problem is with this peg, it is quite deep, so I'm going to have to find some shallow water. So you're looking around about 17 foot. The margins here are quite weedy, and I've had a bit of a cast with a marker lead, and yeah, basically you can only really get around about 15 in your clear spots because it is just choked with weed in the margins. So far, obviously haven't had anything, literally just got the rods out, but fingers crossed we're going to have a cracking week. Me and Paul have literally just drove here after smashing up Todber Manor, so wish us luck. After the long journey, myself and Paul got into our bed chairs for an early night's sleep. Not of course before setting the alarm, just before first light. Good morning. So yeah, literally nothing last night. The time is now around about 11 o'clock and yeah, I've had nothing at all. But good news, Paul has had 2. So he's had 2 within the space of the hour on the same rod. So yeah, absolutely buzzing for him. So he's had 2 30s, 1 common, 1 mirror. So let's go and have a look at that footage now. So Paul is over in peg 9, and yeah, where he's fishing, he's managed to find some shallower water. I was concerned about peg 1 that it was too deep for spring. I don't really want to fish zigs either. So yeah, he's managed to find 10 foot, which is round about perfect for early morning bites, and obviously that's shown. 2 absolutely stunning fish. The common was lovely, the mirror, yeah, nice and dark, which is what Attila Lake is obviously renowned for. We're both using boats on this session. Obviously just taking them out, but what I am doing, I am using a marker rod. So I'm putting a marker rod in the boat, obviously feeling that lead down, looking for a drop, looking for a clear spot, and then obviously fishing from there. If I don't have anything today, I'm going to move. I'm not one for sitting on a peg for a week at all, so I'm probably going to move. Paul, all of his rods were miles away, and Paul, all of his rods are on the left hand side, so I might jump in 9. He's offered that just to double up with him. So yeah, if you don't see me, the next time you see me, I will probably be in peg 9 unless I catch something.
The night came and went, and once again the rods remained static for me. After 48 hours of nothing, it was time to ring the changes.
Okay, so as you can probably tell, I've moved. As I said previously, I'm not one for sort of staying in the same peg. We've got the opportunity to move and I've seen fish. So basically this morning, so I was up at first light looking for fish, and I've seen fish basically along this right hand margin. So I'm in peg 9 with Paul. Paul's rods are all to the left, so I'm not obviously going to encroach on him at all, and he's been having fish on those, so obviously he's not going to move them. So yeah, the fish are to the left here, basically around about, I'd say 80 yards. So all I've done is just walk around the margin. There is a little gap, so I've just waded out, got the marker rod out, obviously flicked it out, tried to find a clear spot, and I found a clear spot around about 6 to 6.5 wraps out, and it's glass, and then basically it hits weed, then solid weed. I haven't marked it up, at a rough guess, feeling that lead down, I reckon it's around about 13 foot, which is shallower than the 17 foot I was obviously fishing in. So the other 2 rods are basically going to go out just to my left hand side, again encroaching nowhere near Paul, and in the background you can probably see a little Christmas tree here. So basically what I'm fishing, it's not far out, but I have seen fish showing there. So you're looking around about 18.5 wraps, just both of them. It drops off, so it goes to about 11, 13, gets to 15, 15.4, and then it shells off again to around about 17.5 to 18 foot. So I'm just on that little shelf there, just going to stick 2 rods out there. So the Jungle Remix on all 3 rods is going to go out, not too much because it is still early, so a couple of handfuls of that, and then a little bit of maize and a little bit of hemp from Carbon Baits. So they're the spots. Let's see what happens.
By the next morning, Paul was into his 3rd carp of the session. Stunning 30-pound common. We slipped that one back, and after I saw some fish along my margin, a fresh rig was tied and I'd hatched a plan.
Right, I've just seen a few fish in the margin here on my right hand side. Just been climbing some trees and seen about a group of 6. A couple of rod lengths out, they are on the surface. So I'm just going to climb the tree again and then get Paul to to bring the bait boat over, and I'll give him a bell on the phone, and I'll tell him when to drop it. So here goes. I can hear you. Right, let's bring the boat. I can't even see it yet. Seems to me it's up the spot. I wonder if there's fish on it. Yeah, nice and slow. Keep going. You're about 10 foot off. Keep going. Right, stay there. Just need to get a bit higher here. Right, keep going. Right, I can see everything now. Right, keep going, mate. Right a touch. Right a touch. Right a touch. To me a bit. Right, drop there. Drop, drop, drop.
Right, mate.
Right, bring it back nice and slow, mate.
I'll wait till you get back and get the rod.
Yeah.
Only 30 minutes later the rod was away. It kited hard and right and had gone round the side of a sunken island. Steering the fish round to left, I was finally in full contact with the fish. It just felt like a dead weight.
Can't play it too far that way. I'm just trying to keep it sort of away from your rods. So I'm just playing it left. She's on the surface. Feels a lump though, mate. It's got to keep its head up. Come on, Paul. Get in there. Is it? Is it? Thank you so much.
No problem. Get that hook out.
Oh my
Get that hook out,
God.
mate.
Let's just get her in first. Let's just get her in. We'll cut the line. Oh my God. Look at the size of that. Might even be bigger, mate. Might even be bigger.
Oh, she is, mate. Nailed.
Yeah, absolutely. Pinky central wafters. Oh, she nailed.
Put the weight on it.
You grab that side.
She might have bottomed out the scales, mate.
Yeah.
59. Maybe.
We're in that drink. Right, mate. Where about you going to put off?
Well, this is what we come to France for. 72 hours or nothing. Yeah, this one rolled off. £59, 59 and a half. Absolutely buzzing. What a beast. Right, mate. Let's get her back.
So this is the rig that me and Paul are using for our session. Yeah, and it's basically just a helicopter rig just to ensure that we guarantee presentation at all times. The actual bead we're putting up there is around about 6 inches up. The reason why is just because it is quite soft out there. Yeah, it is sand the bottom, so you can get hard places, you can get soft places. We are using gripper lead as well, size 4 grippers. The reason for that is just because of the variations in the lake bed. The last thing you want is your lead rolling about. Of course, we are using some form of drop-off system. The reason for that, of course, is just so that the fish rises in the water straight away, so you're not getting snagged up in the weed. Now, the actual rig itself is just a Ronnie rig. So we've got a piece of stiff material there, and then the actual hook that I'm using is a wide gape XS hook by Signet in a size 4, and that has held firm. It's been fantastic. That's the rig that had the 59 pounder on. And then bait wise, so we're using a pink essential fruit wafter, so we're using the Ronnie rig as a wafter, pink essential fruit wafter, and then yeah, we've got some of the wild berry halo on there as well, and that is the rig that has caught us the 4 fish so far. So if you ever are coming to Abbey Lakes, obviously feel free to give this a try. Hopefully it might help you land a whacker. The weather forecast predicted that a low pressure front was arriving in the morning, so with a high chance that the fish would respond to it, the rods had to go out perfect. Wrapping up the rods ensured that we were accurate with the boat. And after sending them out, it was time to relax for the rest of the evening. The weatherman's prediction was spot on, and we were up at first light waiting for Paul's morning bite.
Come on, the big 5-0.
As we expected, Paul's left-hand rod was away. And after a short dogged fight, it was finally in the net. Beautiful jet black common, which Attila Lake is renowned for. After slipping that one back, his left-hand rod was away again. But unfortunately it was a tench.
Go on, Mr. Tench.
But it wasn't long until he received his 3rd run of the day.
Stream of that. It's a stream of blood, isn't it?
Expertly netted by myself, may I say?
Nearly, mate. Nearly there. Just got the settings right now.
Are we right?
We're right. Well, what a brilliant day's fishing that's been for Paul. So that's his 5th carp now. He's also had a tench, so 5th carp of the session, 1 tench and a £59 for me. All of Paul's fish so far have been around the £30 bracket with that lovely dark mid-20. Yeah, the fish in here are like English fish, you know, really dark, just lovely old fish. Yeah, cracking place, really enjoying it. Just to give you a little bit of tip, so as I said, we're on peg 9, Paul's fishing the left hand side, and all of his fish are coming from the Swan's Nest, which is basically right behind me here. And yeah, he's fishing around about 25 wraps. So it's Wednesday today, so we've still got tonight, Thursday night and Friday night as well, and of course we've got Big Fish Thursday to come. So this is the mix that me and Paul are putting out on the boat, and yeah, it's pretty simple, really simple stuff, nothing too complicated. So yeah, all I work on is a scoop of each. So starting off, this is Carbon Baits maize, so just a scoop of that. And I make this up basically just before I'm putting it out. And then next up, just a scoop of hemp. Again, this is from Carbon. Let's give that a mix. And then finally, this is the Jungle Remix. This is our new test bait that I'm currently testing out. And yeah, a scoop of that. And then finally, all I'll do is just get about 10 or so boilies, maybe 20, 30 boilies, and just crush those in. Again, just give it a bit of a turn. And then finally is our Jungle Mix liquid. This is known as the enzyme liquid food, and just give that a bit of a plug in there. And that is basically the mix. Really straightforward, really simple, and won't cost you a fortune.
After seeing a fish show further out from a margin spot, the right hand rod was reeled in and casted to the area where I'd seen it. A scattering of jungle mix put out with the throwing stick, and within the hour the rod was away for my second run of the trip.
Don't feel like a big one, but it's a fish, and this will be the second if I'm lucky to get it in. There's just a massive amount of weed in front of me here. Just got to be careful not to cross me off the line and go too deep. My net's drifting. Oh, I've got in my waders. Where's Paul when you need him? He's gone to get the battery on charge. Come on. Not coming. She's in, and I'm soaked through. Oh, what a palaver. Well, how about that? Fish number 2 for me. Yeah, Paul was just going to get the bait boat batteries, and yeah, it rolled off. It's got a little bit of koi in it, I think, this. There's stunning fish in here. Yeah, really remind me of sort of English carp, like bantams on wire side. Yeah, buzzing. All we need now is for Paul to get a whacker, hopefully over 40 or a 50 or even a 70, because they do reside in here. I'd love for him to get a big fish, so yeah, it's down to him now.
The final run of the day yet again came to Paul's left hand rod. It was a lovely dark Italian mirror.
Let's get her back.
You don't realise, on this. How do you get my age?
After a cracking day's fishing and a hectic day, new rigs were tied just as it was going dark.
Paul putting Alex's landing net together again.
Don't snap it. You even washing it for me?
The handle.
You're not putting a hole in it here. I can see a hole in it already. What are you doing?
Get the lead off me off.
Oh, thanks, boss.
No problem, boss.
What's for tea? Pack of biscuits with the way we're going at the moment.
And working as a team to get our rods back out as quickly as possible ensured that we had just about managed to fit our evening meal in. As the morning mist rose, we were up again at first light. And as always, Paul had his waders on, waiting in anticipation.
How long until they go, Paul?
Give it an hour.
And as the mist cleared, Paul was into his biggest carp of the session so far. Hectic day yesterday, Paul was taking a well-earned rest. And after receiving a few messages from people asking for advice on trips to France, here are our top tips for Attila and fishing at Abbey Lakes.
So tip number one is to find those shallow areas, and this lake is quite deep in places. Even sort of 6 rod lengths out, you're looking around about 17 foot overall. And yeah, the majority of lake in the middle, it is going to be deep. There's not many shallow spots, but shallow areas that we know of. So peg 9 in between peg 4 and peg 5, you will find a 9-foot clear area, around about 20 to 25 wraps out. Peg 4 also has some nice clear areas as well, and yeah, in Peg 4 you can get 8 foot of water, and again, not far out there. You're looking around about 20 wraps, you'll be able to find a nice 8-foot hole. Tip number 2, if you can't get in Peg 9 or Peg 4, definitely do not neglect the margins. There's been plenty of fish boshing along the margin reed beds, around where the trees are, etc. So definitely not neglect those, and that's where I had the 59 from the margin on my right hand side, basically just spotting fish showing there. So all you need to do, there's plenty of areas where you can walk in and go and try and spot fish, and just keep bait trickling in, and if you've got somebody with you, of course you can then bait boat that out like I do on the phone, and you can then drop it in. Of course, if you are doing that, just make sure that you are fishing safely using drop-off lead so that it comes up obviously out the weed, and as well just make sure that there's no snags or any potential areas where the fish can get lost or damaged. Tip number 3, so if you are coming in the first week of April, definitely don't pile too much bait in. The water temperature is definitely still cold, even though it is extremely sunny. So just for a general idea, me and Paul now have been here for around about 5 nights, and we've gone through around about 30 kilo between us, and that is around about 15 kilo of boilie between us, so that's Jungle Remix, and then around about 15 kilo of particle from carbon baits. So tip number 4, all of our bites have been coming in the morning, so definitely do not be reeling in at bite time. So most of our bites have been coming between 7 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning. So leave your rods out, set them at night, and just leave them until you are ready to reel them in around about midday. With regards to that, I would get up in early morning. The fish have been showing then, and that's when you're going to be doing the fish spotting. I would also, as soon as you get up, put your waders on, because where your rods are, it is quite shallow and there's no way that you're going to land a fish there. So you are going to have to wade out a little bit. As always, just be careful when doing that. Yeah, so definitely a set of waders is a must on Attila. The next tip from me would be to bring a bait boat. There are various pegs on Attila where you can't actually cast from. So you've got overhanging pylons and things like that. And also a lot of the fish are showing, you know, sometimes way over 30 wraps. Not all the pegs you can obviously fish that far, but some do command yeah, quite a big area. Also, if you do have a bait boat, you don't need a really fancy one. You don't need GPS on, you know, you don't need some form of fish finder or anything like that. Me and Paul, yes, we are using the RT4, but it doesn't have a GPS on, it doesn't have fish finder or anything. All that we're doing, as I've said previously, we're just putting our marker float in, taking it out to likely looking areas, dropping it, and then just feeling whether or not it's clear, and then just bringing the marker floats up, clipping it up, and then wrapping up, and then fishing from there. And the last 2 tips from me, these are an absolute must, and these are the things that I've been getting most messages from since I've been down here. So firstly, definitely bring some mosquito repellent. So now is the time when the mosquitoes and the summer of course are coming up. I really like to use the coils and the spray as well. You can get those from Home Bargains and places like that. And then finally, bring some antihistamine cream, because although me and Paul have been using that, we have been bitten a few times, a little bit of antihistamine cream on those bites will stop them from itching. And then finally, yeah, definitely bring some form of power pack with you. So I use the Atom power pack. It's quite large, but of course I'm using camera batteries and all of those sorts of things. That will easily last anybody a week just to charge your phone. The Ridge Monkey ones are also pretty good as well. The reason why, so the shop at Abbey Lakes, it's only actually open from 8 in the morning till 10 in the morning, and then 5 in the afternoon till 7. Now what that does mean, you will be reeling in at bite time, of course, if you want to go and charge something, and they don't actually charge overnight. So yeah, a battery pack is a definite must. So those are mine and Paul's top tips when fishing at Abbey Lakes, on Attila, or in fact any other venue in France. So hopefully you found them useful.
Just before first light, Paul was in yet again. as the sun rose on our final full day, we had a little visitor. As we came into our final evening, the April full moon gave us hope that more bites could come, and it certainly didn't disappoint. A near double take just before dawn was a wonderful gift before our long journey back home.
Well, what an end to an incredible session down here on Attila. Both of these were pulls rattled off in the middle of the night. That's 12 for him. Obviously the 59 PB for me. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, if you are coming over here, obviously get on the jungle mix or the jungle remix when it's released. As always, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. See you on the bank.
Although it wasn't the fairy tale ending of one of the big girls for Paul from Attila, sometimes the enjoyment we all get from fishing is spending some quality time with our best mates. With our next session on Abbey Lakes already booked for the summer, we were already looking forward to the journey that was ahead.